Hi guys, welcome to the Unleashed Entrepreneur Workshop number 2, where we're diving in from unknown to unleashed. We are going to be breaking down the brain science behind perfectionism and imposter syndrome. We're going to dive deep into what it is that the top 3% of entrepreneurs flip on in their brains in order to become known in their niche, to become the go-to expert, and to also fall in love with selling, and to finally be done with that feeling that selling is sleazy and uncomfortable, where we are really having a container to help you up level that entrepreneur mindset, to take you from a hustling, struggling solo entrepreneur to a truly unleashed entrepreneur. And we're doing that from the inside out. We are teaching you the process to flip the switch on in your brain to success. Yes, there's an invisible switch in your mind that you can flip to truly create pathways in your brain towards success and erase the blocks that have been holding you back, like imposter syndrome, like comparison, like perfectionism. Because the reality is, once you take your foot off the brake, once you train your brain to believe it, you will see it. Because in the brain, what you automate, what is on autopilot, what you automate, you create. I love to call this science-backed manifestation, but in reality, it is how our brain is wired and how so many struggling entrepreneurs don't have the access to this. And that's why we're doing this over the next couple weeks, where we're doing these workshops, and it's culminating with the amazing video series that's coming up called The Unleashed Entrepreneur. You can, and I will put that link in the chat for everybody to be able to access that sign up, because that is going to be a game changer, where we're breaking down the brain-based success switch method, and you're going to really see all the details of how everything that's held you back up to this point, kept your foot on the brake, first of all, isn't your fault. Second of all, is easy as step-by-step Legos to create and remove. So this is a very interactive masterclass, so I really need you in the chat, letting me know what it is that you are doing, answering me back, because I want this workshop to be 100% for the people who are here live with me. And here's the deal. I am pitching nothing at the end. There's no like, okay, now we're going to go into the selling mode. Not at all. All I want you to do is start to truly invest and bet on yourself, on what you already have the capacity of doing, and unleashing that. Getting done with the idea that the secret to your success lies outside of you, and truly stepping in to that version of yourself that you knew was already in there. But we've got to unleash that. We've got to snap the chain holding you back and unleash that success mindset for you. That's what we're doing in the Unleashed Entrepreneur group. This masterclass is one of 3 different masterclasses that we're doing before the video series hits. Once that video series hits, it's literally like I'm handing you your brain-based blueprint for success. So I cannot wait for you to see those videos. I'm just so excited. What is it about this workshop that made it important for you to show up and learn these brain-based steps in order to truly become that go-to person in your niche? So as we're going through this training today, this workshop, by the way, this is a workshop. Grab some paper, grab a pen or pencil, whatever you prefer. Please turn off the extra stuff going on around you, the Instagrams and the Facebooks and the oh, don't even get me started on the TikTok. You know, just don't, because it's bingeable. But let's put it away. Curiosity, Amelia said. That's great. I'm glad. Southern California is in the house. Love it, Amanda. So I'm wanting to see some of what you guys are saying there. I love what Lauren's saying here. I struggle with consistency. Sometimes I'm on all fire, and then imposter syndrome takes over and I screech to a halt. Then I need to wind up the wheel again. It's exhausting. Oh my gosh, yes, you just described it so beautifully, and we want to remove those roadblocks for you. And here's the great news. The Success Switch method, the Unleashed Entrepreneur video series, is literally the blueprint to something you have access to already. It's just that most entrepreneurs don't actually slow down long enough to learn how to truly train their brain to transform their life and business. And once you do, it becomes your superpower and your biggest competitive advantage. I love it. So should be succeeding by now, Karen. I hear you. I was so there. All right, let's dive in. I always go back at the end. If I haven't read your comment out loud, I always go back and read every single one, because here's one thing I know. If you're showing up here today, you're like a level 10. Let me know in the chat, how much do you want your business to be successful on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 to 10, how much? First one, 100, 100, 100. Yeah, 49. I love it. So that didn't take any time, right? We want our business to be successful. So here's what I know about you, 1 million, is I don't have to convince you to put your foot on the gas of your business. I know you're doing all the things. I know you're showing up for great trainings like this. I know you are moving the needle forward in those gas pedal type actions. But at the same time, that's no problem, Leanne. At the same time, without your knowledge nor permission, you have a foot on the brake and you're wondering, just like the description above that Leanne said, why you're like, have this cycle of trying and then sabotaging and then going and then imposter syndrome and feeling like that wind up toy, right? And that is because you don't know it. It's invisible, but your subconscious runs 90% of your daily decisions. We know this from the neuroscience of success now. 90% of your decisions that you make every day, which creates the decisions, and those decisions create your action, and the action creates results. 90% of those are coming from your subconscious programmed place. So we need to give you the keys, the blueprint, the map to be able to unlock what's in that subconscious and make sure that it aligns with your big vision and big goal, because your brain wants to keep you safe and aligned, not with what you want. We're not naturally hardwired for entrepreneurship. Your brain wants to keep things safe and familiar, meaning what's there now, it aligns with what's automated now. So if we've said things like, who am I? Who do I think I am? I'm not expert enough. So-and-so is further along than me. I should be further along in my business. Selling is scary. Selling is sleazy. All of those things. And we're repeating them so often. Our brain sees that as what we want and automates that. And from that place, our brain runs 90% of our decisions. So I want to give you the keys to unlock this. And the greatest news is it's super simple. It's super simple. I would love to tell you it's so complicated. But the reality is the way our brain is wired and the way you hardwire and automate your brain is a step-by-step system. But now the reality is you wouldn't build Legos, which are a step-by-step system, without the instructions, right? Imagine just trying to build Legos from the box, right? And that's what a lot of entrepreneurs do. They try to figure it all out by looking at a picture of what somebody else is doing out there. But we need the map, we need the blueprint. And that's what the video series is going to do. But we're going to dive into a few things today to get you going that way. All right. So let's move on and move forward here. And really quick, I want to check in. You can see me on video and you can see the slides. Please say yes in the chat so that I know that all technology is performing well and that we are aligned with each other. All right, great. Let's dive in. All right, today we are lining in. This is what my intention is with you. Start with intention. Always our brain needs to see it. How to become a go-to expert in your niche and sell with ease without the sleaze. Anybody? Tell me if selling feels sleazy to you. It feels like you're fine teaching, you're fine giving all your best stuff away for free, but when it comes to actually creating an offer and putting an offer out there, showing up really big in that way, it's like screeching brakes and you feel like kind of weird and awkward and all of the things. And I'll look at chat as soon as I'm done doing this. But here's the key: without the perfectionism and imposter syndrome that's pumping the brakes. So that's what we talked about, is pumping those brakes and making sure that the brakes are not pumping for you. And this is the little hint. This is a secret you've been looking for. This is what the top 3% know. And this is what they use to become that go-to expert, to be the person that are sought after and to sell with ease and have sold out programs. So my goal is to take you from hustling, struggling, hamster wheel solo entrepreneur to the Unleashed Entrepreneur. And that is the whole goal of this container we have in the Unleashed Entrepreneur group. If you're not over there, please look in Facebook, find the Unleashed Entrepreneur group and ask to join, because it is powerful in there what we're doing in terms of shifting the entrepreneur mindset. And definitely get signed up for that video series. So today, this is what we're going to learn today. We're going to dive into how to erase these brain subconscious blocks that I talked about that are keeping you as the best kept secret on the internet with lackluster results. So who's in for that one? Who's ready to learn that one? I want to hear in the chat. I told you this is going to be very interactive. So we're going to be hanging out with each other in this chat a lot. Okay, good. Good. Absolutely. All right. Always want your permission to continue. The second thing we're going to hit today is how to mentally gain the confidence to become that go-to expert in your niche, to show up big. You know what I'm saying? Like showing up the full version of what you know you have capacity to without those voices talking you down. And the last one is how to ditch this imposter syndrome and launch into crickets so that you can learn to sell with confidence and ease, and maybe even raise your prices. Anybody having that challenge of don't want to raise the prices, feels awkward, those type of things? And listen, the reality is you're going to find out that this is definitely something that I've been through, and that's why we're talking about this. Now, what makes this different? This is the brain science of success. So often we try what a lot of the internet gurus tell you to do, that success is outside of ourselves, that we have to hustle and work hard if we want to be successful. Now, and we just have to, like, I used to say I'll work till I'll sleep when I'm dead. I'll work 20 hours a day if I have to make this thing go. Now, part of that is good, but there is a part of it that actually pumps the brakes without your knowledge. And just be finally aligned with how your mind is wired so that it stops working against you and becomes your biggest advantage in the marketplace. Excuse me. This is what happens when I get pumped up for you, because I want to see you have this breakthrough. So this is who I am if we don't know each other. I am a business strategist for the last 14 years, helping 6, 7, and 8-figure entrepreneurs break through and up level in their business. I'm also, my background in neuropsychology, I have a doctorate in neuropsychology, and my emphasis was on the science of success, how the brain creates success and failure. And I'm an entrepreneur, have been since I was 20. I own restaurants from 20 years old, and I am the entrepreneur with multiple 7-figure businesses. And I'm also the founder of Mosaic Vision. For the last 15 years, we're a nonprofit helping AIDS orphans in Uganda. It's a big value of mine to give back. That is the power of having a business, to be able to impact the world in a way that leaves it better than when you came. And so that is who I am. So you know who's talking. And like, after doing this for 14 years, with some of the industry leaders, I discovered that you can train your brain to be successful. You can truly erase those blocks, those fear of selling, the perfectionism, the imposter syndrome. There is a brain-based process to erase those. And in reality, I've also learned that you can use this secret that the top 3% already know to become that go-to person in your niche and sell with ease. And the reality is I have done a lot of things wrong. In fact, the whole reason I ended up getting that doctorate in neuropsychology was because everything that we described that I am teaching today, I struggled with. I did a lot of things wrong. And I really discovered this the hard way. And I want to create an environment where you get to cheat and you get to do it the easy way. That is my big mission, that at least 1 million entrepreneurs get unchained from the things that are holding them back, flip on that brain success switch so it can become easy, fun, and effortless. Because isn't that why you got into business to begin with? To have freedom, to have enough financial stability that you can relax a little bit, to spend time with your friends and family, to make an impact and a difference in the world. I would love to know in the chat, are those things that are important to you? What is it that you got into business for? I want to hear in the chat, like, what is the #1 thing that made you say, I'm done with the 9 to 5, or I need to start a side hustle because I want to do this. I want more financial freedom. I want more time freedom. I want to help other people. I want to make an impact. I want to create a legacy. What is it for you? Helping others help themselves. I love it, Laura. Christy, I want to help other people. What is it for everybody? It's time freedom. I want to help others. I want to take care of my parents. Jennifer, I love that. Control, yes. Let's be real. All of those, Laura says. Help others. It's going kind of fast, so if I miss yours. Believe in my product, on my terms, yes. Direct impact on people's lives. Flexibility, freedom, and yes. Environment. Oh, I love this one. Yes, I have the financial ability to impact those in need around me whilst a mom and wife first. Yes, that was mine too. So I want you in a contribution in changing the planet. Keep putting them there. I want to read all of these. I want you to cheat and use the easy way, because so many people, so many great entrepreneurs that have a big, like something that really changes lives, stay the best kept secret on the internet. And I don't want that for you. So this is the hard way. And this is my definition. And after talking to so many entrepreneurs over the last 14 years, I'm wondering if this is yours. Most entrepreneurs try to work harder, right? Got to work hard to be successful. Anybody have that story growing up? And hustle more. And that's, you got to do that to deserve success. It has to be perfect to deserve it. If I say this, and this is in any way resonating with you, you say, oh yes, that's me, that's me, that's me. Most entrepreneurs think that becoming known as the expert means doing a ton of content and social media posts, making sure they're all perfect so people will like them and think that they're good enough, think that they're expert enough. Most go from course to course and strategy to strategy, learning to sell the right way and do the pitch and get people to buy, but they feel selling is hard and they feel that it's sleazy, and therefore they don't do it, or they do it very little. So if that is you, let me know that as well. And most think that the answer to becoming known and being an expert online or off is doing all the right steps that all the gurus tell you and getting more qualifications and more enoughness in order to show up the way that you want to. And really, this is an outside-in approach that doesn't work, because if it did, you would already be as successful as you want to be. And I say that with love, and I say that with caring, and I say that with a mirror in my hand, because that's exactly where I was too. And the real problem here is that your brain is automated to stop you from being seen and stop you from selling. What? Yeah, for your brain, putting yourself out there, showing up big, putting your biggest thing out there that is a piece of you, basically, right? Because we create from, usually our transformations or our, ideas have helped us in some way. And so we put it out there in the world, and to our brain, it's not safe. It's not safe. And here's how you know that you're in this, you're struggling with this trap. I'm just going to go through these quickly. You work harder and hustle more than ever and never spend time with those you're doing it all for. That was definitely me. You try new strategies, funnels that all the guru tell you will make you successful, but nothing changes. You try to learn and learn and learn, and some more, so you keep doing that so you feel like you've earned the right to help people. So at any time, if any of this aligns, I just want you to say, yes, that's me. You do everything you're told. Like, that's one thing I know about high performance. And I know if you're here, you're a high performing entrepreneur. Your brain is designed as a high performing entrepreneur. We've got to unleash it, but it is designed. And that's the greatest news, because once we flip this, it becomes it just becomes effortless and easy. But here's the thing, I know, and this is me too. I learned that the webinar and the sales and Facebook Lives and the Amazon sales and all the things, but that pit in my stomach feeling that stopped me dead in my tracks from doing it all in. Has anybody else felt that way? You launch over and over again with no improvement, because selling feels like you're taking something away after you teach. You tell your family, and this is a very personal one to me, because this is what I did. You tell your family and friends that business is going great, and then you curl up in a ball and cry. There's a little full disclosure there, but I hope I'm not alone. You feel overwhelmed, like you're missing something that successful people have. If you could just get your hands on that thing, you know you could make it work. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing, is getting that missing piece in your hand. Imposter syndrome sets in, and you think, who am I to be doing this? I'm not expert enough yet. And truth be told, the next thought is, and somebody will call me out. You wear all the hats. You feel like you're spinning in a circle and not moving forward. And you've tried all the Facebook ads, the perfect funnel. It comes to putting yourself fully out there. you shrink back, you hold a percentage of you back. And when it comes to selling, you almost feel exposed, like someone's telling you at any moment that you're not worth it. I'm being real, mostly based on my experience before I flipped this switch, because I want you to know you're not alone and you are highly wired to be successful if this is you. And sometimes you do question the whole entrepreneur thing. So before I move on, I want to see if this is resonating, if you feel any of these things at all. Yeah, stops momentum in your tracks. Yeah, okay. Different points of it, right? So you kind of go on the hot. So, and here's how you know too, if your brain is got those brain-based blocks going on, because when you're going and things are going great and things are crushing it and you feel amazing, you feel like on top of the world. And then when something goes wrong or somebody comments or something is not there or your sales weren't where they wanted, you wanted them to be, your worth just drops and you feel like, oh, I knew it. Who was I to think I could do this? Your worth and your work are tied together. And that is a brain-based block that we are going to clear in the video series that's coming up at the Unleashed Entrepreneur video series. So to be seen and to show up big and to sell with abandon for your brain is fear, right? And you don't know that because you're on autopilot, pushing, trying hard, willpower, hustle. But we got to do it the easy way. We actually have to wire our brain for this to work. So you're unknown right now. And I say this again with love. The people that are in my tribe knows that I speak the truth in love because the truth sets you free. You're unknown right now because your brain sees you being known as a threat. We're afraid of being judged because if we're judged and we're found as lacking, then we're not enough and we lose love. The big three things that we want most in this world is to feel enough, to be loved, and to feel safe. And all of those things as an entrepreneur, we've got to train into our brain so that your brain sees what we want as success and this as a threat. And that's what we're doing. So I'm curious, do you want to know the easy way that the top 3% know that creates that absolute confidence in their expertise and mastery in selling? I want to make sure you are all on board before we move forward. Oh, Beth, I love it. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm waiting to make sure everybody's on board. I'm going to take a drink of coffee. You can too. All right, but here's what I need from you right now. I need you to be all in. This is when I want you to make sure that you're muting your phone. You're just going to be all in with me because we're going to dive in and go through the things that are going to start the wheels turning. Now, here's the thing. I've only got 45 minutes with you, so I really want you to get signed up for that video series so that you get the entire blueprint, all right? So I'm going to make sure I'll put it in the chat once again so that you have the link if you're not already signed up on the wait list, or I'm here in the studio alone today. So the video series is free, 100% free. 100% free. All right, so we're ready to go. We have our pen and paper. We're ready to rock and roll. Okay, so here are the 3 secrets that they know and that you will at the end of this training. So secret number 1 is they work from brain-based belief to gain the confidence to be seen and sell. They work from brain-based belief. We're going to break that down, don't worry, to gain the confidence to be seen and sell. Can you tell me, whoever it is that you look up to most, are they confident when they show up? And do they sell? Let me know in the comments. The person that you love and you follow the most, whether it's online or whatever, would you say that they are confident and they sell, that they show up and they sell? Yeah, I don't think you can find me any successful top 3% entrepreneur that sure seem to be, Laura says. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think you can find one top 3% entrepreneur that isn't wildly confident, that they want to be seen and they want to help people and they want to sell. And we're going to flip that selling conversation in this training. Secret number 2 is they remove the blocks, the imposter syndrome and comparison roadblocks to becoming seen and selling. Because listen, sometimes removing something is more powerful than gaining something. Sometimes removing something is more powerful than gaining something. What do I mean by that? I know you're a high performer. I know you're doing the things. I know you're showing, I know your foot is on the gas. But if your foot's on the brake at the same time and it's blocking you and stopping you, wouldn't removing that be the highest priority, given that it's running 90% of your daily decisions? So we're all being like indoctrinated in the, I need to more strategies, more tactics, more funnels, more things outside of me. But if my foot's on the brake, then none of those work optimally, right? And we know this because Amy Porterfield can do a webinar launch and have multiple 7-figure webinar, and a struggling solo entrepreneur can do their first webinar, follow the exact same steps that Amy did, but not have any sales whatsoever. So if it was a strategy, if it was the tactic, if it was the funnel, then everyone who did webinars would always have 7-figure results. And that's not the case. So the difference is in the person running the webinar, and diving into removing the things that are blocking is just as powerful, or maybe even more powerful, than gaining anything outside of yourself. So secret number 2, they remove the roadblocks from becoming seen and selling. And number 3, they create, okay, I really want to go slow on this one because this one's important. People want to like go past this. Don't do that. They create expertise. I'm going to say that again. They create expertise. Do they wait for permission? Are they asking you, has the top person that you look up to, have they come to you and said, do you think I'm expert enough? I want you to let me know in the chat. Yeah, no. They create expertise and have sold out programs through aligned action. And so we're going to talk about, what does that mean, aligned action? Because remember, if 90% of your decisions are being created from your subconscious, we've got to get in there. We've got to create, erase, and then automate those subconscious stories that are aligned with what you want the most. And so we're going to break that down today. All right, so secret number 1, you need to work from brain-based belief to gain confidence. Who in here would like to be more confident online? More confident when you're showing up, more confident when you're selling, more confident that your product's going to create transformation, more confident that no matter what anybody says, no comment, anything, you know that you know that you know that you know that you are confident that it works, that you have to show up and you have to sell and serve. Okay. And again, please comment, because that is definitely one of the behaviors of a top 3%, is they're fully engaged. So I really want you to stay fully engaged with me. All right. And we just talked about this. Can you show me one successful entrepreneur that doesn't have that confidence? And you already answered that. And the good news is we're going to do this today. We're going to uncover the key to this brain-based belief today. So that's secret number 1. Secret number 2, you have to erase the blocks that are keeping you from being seen and selling. And we're talking about things like fear of judgment, being found out as not expert enough, perfectionism, procrastination, overwhelm, and that dreaded comparison. And then number 3, you create expertise and sold out programs through aligned action. Your brain needs to believe it before you will see it and before they will buy it. I want you to be really real right now with me. Now, you're going to get as much out of this training as you put in, but based on percentage, how much do you believe that you are expert enough right now? So if you're 100%, I 100% believe, I want you to put 100%. If you're 50, you put 50. I want to know where you're landing right now on being in full belief that you are expert enough and you have to sell your programs. Okay. Yeah. Some days 100, some days 10, 40 to 50 seems to be the average. So I want you to see that you're in good company. We think this is something that we only live in. And the reality is we all live in this place. We don't want to be judged. We don't want to be found out lacking. We have something in our brain called negativity bias. And it's did a great job keeping us from being eaten by tigers and bit by snakes and kept us fed back in the cave days. But today, it just keeps us from being seen and heard and putting that best thing out there. Now, I want to ask this question in a different way. If you didn't have to sell and you didn't have to show up, how confident are you that if you worked with somebody, whether one-on-one or group or whatever, you could help them get that transformation that your service does? So I want to see that in the chat. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that crazy, you guys? So based on your answers here, I hope you can see that what you're not afraid of is your product being good enough. You've just told me it's good enough. What you're afraid of is being seen and heard out there and having somebody tell you that it's not. And so we want to dive into that today. So let's get into it. Grab your pencil. We're going to build a brain-based belief to gain confidence to be seen and sell. So the brain actually creates success. It has to see it to believe, or it has to believe it, right? It has to believe it to see it. In other words, starting from the being an expert enough is backwards to the brain. So the brain coming and saying to yourself, I've got to earn my right to be an expert is backwards for your brain. And so your brain sees that struggle as you not believing in it because you're doing just another thing and another thing. Now, don't get me wrong. You do have to have some information and you do have to prepare. And so that I'm not talking about those things, but you know the difference between having the right steps and then painfully continuing to make sure and make sure and make sure and make sure. There's a big difference, right? So to your brain, you're actually building into your brain disbelief in your expert status the more you lean into that. That's why you're struggling right now. So I wanted to tell you a story of how I uncovered this. I was starting my own restaurant business. This was back when I was 20. I've been an entrepreneur since I was a young girl. And I was in this state of mind. I'd worked for restaurant companies for a while, and I had this conversation going of, it's hard to run a restaurant, but I was really good at it, right? And so I opened restaurants for Chart House and for Cheesecake Factory restaurants, and I was doing it for everybody else. And everybody kept saying to me, you really should start your own restaurant. You're really good at this. And the conversation I was having was, well, you know, I'm good at it because somebody else is paying for it. I'm good at it because I know how to run a restaurant, but I don't know how to run a business. And money doesn't grow on trees, and I'm not sure that I'm enough. I'm not sure I'm expert enough. I'm not sure I know enough. And I kept having this conversation of not being enough, not being enough, not being enough. So guess what was programmed in my mind? I'm not enough. I'm not enough. And my brain is seeing I'm not enough as safe. And so I postponed, person after person. And I had a mentor challenge me. And this is before I studied the brain science of success. This is before I started unpacking all this. But I had a mentor challenge me. He came and he asked me, like, Shannon, what are you afraid of? What is it that makes you think you're not expert enough? And I sat and thought about it for a minute. And I said the first thing that came to mind, making money is hard. And he said, when did you hear that the first time? And it was like the light bulb went on. Oh, I've heard that since I was young. My dad said it daily, pretty much. Making money is hard, making money is hard, making money is hard. So what did I believe? My brain believed making money was hard. So putting myself out there was difficult. That was the moment that I started flipping the switch and started noticing. So I had to start believing that I could, working with a mentor and truly training this into the brain to where I started to believe it. And then I believed it so much that we invested and started the restaurant business. So what is it for you that I would love to know in the chat, that if you believed it 100%, you would go all in on? So I want to hear in the chat, what is it that you know, like, 'cause I know you know, like, if we could remove and give you that 100% belief, if I could just right now hit the, like, dub you completely with full of belief, what would you put out in the world? I want you to do that, and then we're going to move into an exercise. Sarah says, coaching parents, neuro coaching. I love it. She's getting her certification through us. That I'm enough, Francine would say. Of course, a tangible product. Visibility every day. I'm enough to bring change. Yeah, I'm making money from my business. I'm capable, that I can be successful and a six-figure entrepreneur. Glamping business. I love that. using it to support local homeless and food bank, putting more programs out there. It's okay. What keeps me from succeeding is succeeding. Why can't I? Yeah, I can do it. I am capable enough. I can. Right. So always ready for the next thing and not afraid. I love it, Rita. And see how we know this? Like, we know, this is the thing. We're taught that it's outside of ourselves, these answers. But you look at, you all know exactly what you would do if you were in 100% belief. So we just got to get this trained into your brain. So I want to do a brain-based exercise with you right now. So I want you to grab a piece of paper, and I'm going to leave some long pauses because I want you to do this work. So the first thing I want you to do is write down a list of why your product or service helps somebody. Like, why does it help them? What is it about it that helps create a transformation? And if you have any questions during this exercise, please put them in the chat. I'll make sure I answer them. I'm going to take your brain through a belief exercise so you can start to see how to peel it back to belief. So number one, you're going to write down on a piece of paper right now how or why your product or service helps. My products are 100% pure and natural, toxin-free essential oils. Tell me how they help. How they help. It helps people be as healthy as possible. Love it. I offer solutions customers never had considered. Ruth, how does it help? Sean says it helps people be healthy as long as they can. I love that. My service takes away people's stress and overwhelm. Amanda, I love that. It helps save money on essential services. I love it. I'm a doctor. For me, it's hard to tell how I help. Well, think about it like, when your clients feel better, what do they say to you? That's how I would answer that. If you're struggling with this at all, if you have had clients, what do they say to you? And if you haven't had clients, then you're just going to write down what your ideal transformation is. Save money, make money, feed kids using, okay, good. All right, so a lot of you are getting there. Sarah says valuable because it will help children, teachers, and parents understand how their brain works and manage their minds and emotions so they can thrive. Love it. My service brings more connection to body, breath, and being. I love it. Louise says decrease anxiety. Who could use that right now? Yes, increase confidence, grounding, healing, positivity. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Relaxation, overcoming a problem. Great, keep going. I love having you put it in there because it allows your brain, these are ways to start to train your brain that it's safe and familiar for you to get transformation. It's safe and comfortable and familiar. All right, so we've done number one, and you can keep putting them in there. Now, I want you to write down, we're gonna use some more of your brain that you don't normally use. So I want you to close your eyes for a second, and I want you to imagine whether it's a client you already have and you've had success with them or a future client, but I want you to imagine that that client has purchased your product or service and it's really helped. And they're telling you what it is that's happened for them. So you're closing your eyes, and I want you to play full out. This isn't some deep woo meditation visualization. This is brain-based, science-backed belief, okay? So I want you to close your eyes. I want you to imagine either a client that you already know of or a future client. They've bought your product or service. They've had the transformation or it's impacted their lives, and they are now telling you what it did for them and what's possible now because of it. And once you have that, I want you to write down as if you're writing down what they're saying. Like, she said that it relieved this and it did, so I want you to write it down like that. So I'll say it again just to be clear. You're closing your eyes. You're going to picture being in a room with a client and they are just telling you. You're not having to ask them any questions. They're just telling you, oh my gosh, I bought your product, I used your service, I got your coaching, and this has happened, and this has happened, and now this is possible, and wow, and all those things, okay? So that's what we're gonna write down. You're gonna imagine it first, and then you're gonna write down what they said. And then when you're done writing that down, say done. Okay, so most of you have written it down, okay? Now I want you to go back to what you wrote down, and I want you to add some more detail. What's possible now for their family? What's possible now for their health? What's possible now for their relationships? What's possible now for their business? What's possible now for their future? What things can they do now that they couldn't do before? I want you to add some more details down to what you've already written. So take 1 minute and write some more details down on the piece of paper. So at least 5 more details to what you already wrote down. And when you're done, Sarah's crying. Oh, don't you love how the brain works for you? Y'all, I was crying. I watched the last in the series on Fuller House. Hopefully I'm not embarrassing myself. I'm like obsessed. And I just bawled my eyes out. Oh my gosh, I'm probably puffy today because of it. All right, so right now you should have down the first thing you wrote, then plus the reflection or what you imagine the client saying with a lot of detail. Now I want you to write down this. Read what you wrote, and I want you to write down how you feel right now about that. And when you're done writing that down, go ahead and say done, and you can put it in the comments. And I thank you, by the way, thank you in advance for how interactive you're being. This is so much more powerful for you and for me, but more for you, for your brain when you do this and you actually write things down. So tell me how this feels. Excited, pumped, proud, happy, hopeful, confident, like I'm actually making a difference, fulfilled. What else? Hopeful, great, motivated, proud of myself, accomplished, feel like you can make a positive impact. You know, you've written down how your product or service can help, and you also reflected back how somebody that's been impacted by you would reflect that to you. You put lots of detail, and you've just defined how you feel. Free to enjoy my life, proud of myself, all of those things, humble, joyful. Now, here's why we're doing this. Most people, most struggling entrepreneurs spend so much of their time chasing a strategy that they never ever show their brain that this is what you do. So you just gave your brain a picture of what it is that you sell, how it impacts, and how a client would respond to you. So on a percentage base, how confident are you if somebody walked in right now that you would be able to share what it is you do and help them make that transformation right now? Like right now after this exercise. 100%, 200%. Very confident, 100%. Keep going. I want to see everybody more versus thoughts. Okay. That's okay. Adrienne, we're going to get you. Remember, this isn't a like blue pill, but we're just starting to peel it back and starting to show that look at what we did in less than 10 minutes of brain-based belief exercise. Now imagine if you actually set that into automation where your brain actually has that on autopilot and it's running every time you show up, every time that you plan your day, every time that you go live, every time that you do anything. How much more successful do you think you would be if how you are at right now with this level of brain-based belief, how much more successful would you be if this was on autopilot? How much more? So we just like tip of the iceberg, like just peeled it back and worked with this brain-based belief. This is something you can continue to repeat, but the actual steps to automation we're diving into in the video series. So I want you to make sure you're at that video series because that's when we're like really opening the map and showing you all of those things. Now, I want to go ahead and move on. Before I do, can you see, based on this workshop idea, this exercise, how your brain can actually believe it and you can start to see it? And if just in this small moment, imagine if it's automated, that you don't even have to think about it. You don't have to try to believe. You don't have to do these exercises. It's just on autopilot, running your day, 90% of it, right? All right, so that's why this is powerful. And this, we're always looking, y'all, it's not your fault. We learn from growing up to ask for permission. We are in education, we're, you know, going through school, being judged on our performance out in the world, A's, B's, D's, F's, right? So we get indoctrinated into this outside in the thought process of success. But the brain-based science of success is an inside-out thing. It's brain-based belief, and it's powerfully putting it in there. Oh, I'm so glad you had a big aha moment. Okay. Now, I know we still need to remove some of those blocks, and we haven't got there yet, but this is showing your brain what's there. And like I said, the Unleashed Entrepreneur video series dives deep into this step, and the link is there in the chat. So you can get that, or in the Facebook group too. So secret number 2, who's ready for secret number 2? Let's go. Who's ready for secret number 2? Let me know in the chat if you're ready for secret number 2. Let's get those roadblocks erased. Let's move them. Let's get them out, right? Okay, good. Let's go. Let's go. I like to say that. Let's go. All right. So we're going to remove the blocks keeping you from being seen and selling. And this is where we're talking about some of the things. And I'd love for you to put in the chat, what would you consider the biggest block that stops you from just going all in with full confidence? For me, it was perfectionism and overwhelm and my money stories. Those were the things 15 years ago that I had to start to unpack. What is it for you? And here's the greatest news. I get the privilege of coaching top 6, 7, and 8-figure entrepreneurs. And this is the stuff we work through. Overthinking, worrying, perfectionism, fear of failure. So here's the deal. And I'm going to read every single one of these. I want to keep going, but the more you start to unpeel this part of your brain, the better off it is. But the reality is we want to start to become aware, not just of the general term, but we want to become aware of what it is we are saying to ourselves. This is one of the things, and I'm going to go down a soapbox for just a moment. There are a lot of well-meaning people on the interwebs out there selling a symptom-based solution for success that drives me nuts. And here's what I mean. You can't outperform, out hustle, out willpower your subconscious. You've got to get in there and erase these blocks. And the reality is, if someone's helping you in general terms, like I use these general terms because I know that we categorize them in this way, but let's be real. Do you really say, I have imposter syndrome, I don't think I'll show up today? No, you say like, what am I thinking? Like, no, I don't want to, somebody's going to comment, or God forbid somebody does comment, which if I started telling you all the comments I get, you'll be like, oh my. Then you start saying, it's like, I knew I should have done this. What are you saying to yourself? And yes, Tony Robbins, I know what focuses on grows, but listen, y'all, 90% of your decisions are on autopilot without your permission, and they don't align 100% with where you want to go. So we've got to pull them out long enough to hear them and pull them from the subconscious mind so that they're not running 90% of your decisions, right? So we've got to pull them out. And one of the ways we do this is by becoming aware of what you're saying. Now, again, I'm beating a drum. We're going to dive deep into that mind matrix process, which is the process within the Success Switch method in the video series. But just starting to become aware of what words you're saying to yourself when you're leaning into resistance, whether it's going live, doing a webinar, selling, doing all those things. And the reality is one of these blocks almost made me walk away from a really big moment in my life. I was training, this was back in like freshman in college, but I was training. I wanted to be, and I know you're going to probably have an opinion about this, so I'm a little bit scared to say it because we all have our opinions about cheerleaders, but I loved cheerleading. It was a sport. I enjoyed it. Don't laugh. Some of you are going to be like, it's not a sport. It is a sport. But anyway, I really wanted to make the Arizona State team, but I kept telling myself, okay, if I'm going to make this team, because it was a really intense team, they were like one of the highest ranking college cheer teams. So if I'm going to make this team, I need to practice with some pros. And I kept telling myself, I need to practice with some pros. And there was a voice in my head that said, you're not going to make it. And I decided in advance, this is one of the key components of the success switch method, but I decided, what if I believed that I could? What would I do if I believed I could? And I was reading an online blog, and I saw that the Phoenix Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals, NFL were having tryouts. And I'm like, that's perfect. I'll go train with them. And I'm going to tell myself every single day that I'm going to make that squad, because I really want to make ASU. And I'm going to just do this. I'm going to believe it. I'm going to practice the belief. So I was practicing that belief. But then as I started to show up, that old story started coming in. I was standing up there to register to do the tryouts. And I literally walked away and got in my car and drove away and sat there and had the conversation. And I wonder if you have too, of like, who do I think I am to do this? Like, why am I doing this? I'm just going to be found out. Like, why am I doing this? Please tell me I'm not the only one that's ever had this conversation. I hope I'm not the only one. So long story short, I pushed through and I went back and I signed up before I could chicken out. And I did keep just telling myself I could. I told myself I could. And of course I was doing all the things. Like, I'm looking around at all these very talented athletes. And I was able to just start to believe that I belonged there. And that became the belief. And then once I believed I belonged there, then I believed I was an athlete enough, and on and on. I just kept taking tiers of belief. And I'm sitting there as they're calling the names, and I'm like, okay, well, they're calling the names of who's going to make this NFL. This has been a great experience. I'm ready to go try out for ASU. And then they called my name. So I ended up cheering for the NFL for a couple of years. And I almost walked away from that moment because of these stories. And I'm wondering, what is it that you're walking away from, or almost walking away from, because it's on the other side of showing up in a really big way in terms of belief? All right, so we're going to dive into a small exercise. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I want you to, again, we're going to work in the brain-based belief, but we're removing things. So I want you to start with what it is that you're wanting to do in the marketplace. So I'm going to have you practice this in the chat instead of doing it all on your paper. I want you to write in, what is it that you want to put out to the world? Just whether it's like, I'm a coach, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, right? What is it? What is it you want people to buy from you? Is it a coach? Is it a product? Is it a service? Elder care service, coaching. I'm just getting a group launch. That's fantastic. Coaching. Nikki, I'm so excited for you. If I could have started this way, oh my gosh. Okay, health and wellness, real estate, yoga studio, consulting, love it, realtor. That's okay. It's okay that you don't know. Leanne, if you did know, like, don't put that break on your brain. That's a belief break. If you knew, just right now, without too much stress, you don't have to commit to it, but if you did know, what is it that lights you up? What would light you up every day helping people with? And start there. You do live videos, Nikki. What would you sell? Sound healer, Allison. Good. Health coach. Okay, you guys have got that right. Now, here's what I want you to do. I say 2 rooms. It's just 1 room. I want you to imagine, well, let's do this in the chat. What is there somebody that you're looking up to that does what you want to do? If so, put their name in the chat. I love that, Lauren. I love that, Lauren. See how quick, oh, thank you, Alex. Nina, Diane, okay, keep going. So what we're putting in here is, thank you, Carol. Julia, perfect. We're putting in the name of somebody that you look up to that's doing what you're doing or wanting to do. Love all the Julias. Thank you, Luis. Ken, good. Thank you, Christine. Good, keep going. So they have the business that you want, or you look up to them as a mentor and you would like to, Dave Ramsey, I love it, Alex. I love that. Love Dave, he's a great guy. And Nadia, love it. Okay, you guys have that. If you didn't put it down there, thank you, Rosemary. Thank you, I appreciate it, Jeff. That's okay. Kim says, I don't know. I've looked at other businesses here, but there's nothing I look to replicate. So that's okay. I want you to think about somebody that you look up to as a success, maybe not in your industry. All right, so I want you to imagine whoever it is that came to mind is in a room, and the whole room that they're in front of is excited to see them talk, and they're going to sell. Okay. So they're going to sell. They're doing a speech, and then they're going to sell. And you're walking into that room. Okay. And they're doing the exact same thing you're doing, right? I want you to write down, what are some of the things that that person is doing in that room? What is it that you most look up to them for? What is that? So you're in the room with them, and they're sharing their story, and they're telling about their transformation and what they have to give. And I want you to just write, what is it that you notice about them? So engaging, passionate, authenticity, engagement, the energy, the excitement they create in the room, the confidence in the message, showing up fully and authentically. Confidence, authentic, engaging with people, authentic. Notice how many authentic, badassery. I love it, Jen. They speak from truth with clarity, compassion, clarity, connection, knowledge, service, positive, always laughing and confident. Integrity, confidence. They're telling stories about clients' transformation, passionate, confident, energy. Look, you guys, nobody's writing down that they've done 100 hours of training to get to where they want to go. No one wrote because they're the preeminent expert in their niche. So I want you to scroll back up and look at the comments, because we look to get enough confidence to be expert enough to show up big. We look at this list of to-dos, which everything that you said is a state of being. It's who they're being as a human, and that's why you follow them. Why you follow them has nothing to do with them being expert enough. Why you're attracted to them has nothing to do with the hours they've logged or the certifications they have. So that's what I want you to know, is what is possible is your brain, based on the belief system that we just had about your product, the combination of what you did in the first exercise, and just really, really looking at what is it that you looked up to in them. And then the mirror truly becomes, how do I become those things now? Because in reality, this isn't confidence. It's personable, classy, fun, interesting. They tell stories. They have energy. They are authentic. So many of you said authentic. Well, guess what? You're authentic. You trying to show up different than who you are is the inauthenticity, is the thing that you think people want instead of being you. But all of you wrote that they don't care anymore if somebody gets them. They're fully into it, right? They're genuine, they're authentic, they're passionate, they're credible. So you can be credible, but the reality is, it's those amazing stories. It's sharing your life. It's sharing your transformation. It's being vulnerable, yes, enough to say, I've gone through this and I've gotten to here and I'm reaching my hand back, and you can too. And you can too. So I want you to write down the 3 things that you said about them that you are going to start practicing belief in now. And I want to know what those are. What are the 3 states of being that you wrote down that you are going to now practice every single day? Because I would love to know in the chat, how much more successful do you think you're going to be if you practice those states of being every single day, so that your brain starts to believe those as truth and safe and familiar, and so you can do more and more and more and more. All right, and I want everybody to write that down. See, we're workshopping today. I want you to get through this workshop with a brain-based belief and an ability to remove those things that are blocking you. And belief is the key to erasing those pieces. Now, we've got to go through a step-by-step removal system. It's super simple, and we're going to dive into that in the actual video series itself. Good. Everybody's doing it there. Awesome. All right. So we're going to power through step 3 because this is more of, and please keep commenting. I'm going to come back to it. This is more creating expertise through aligned action. So this is a very action-oriented secret, and we're going to dive into it together. The success switch method is this step-by-step process of doing 3 things. And we're starting to kind of hit the iceberg of these things right now. Clarifying what we want to believe. You did that with the comments you just got done doing. Erasing the things that are standing in the way and truly setting that on an autopilot in your brain. And this whole system came about from all of the things that we've been talking about that I was struggling with. And I am the crazy person that went and got a PhD to try to figure my own stuff out. We're so close to our own stories sometimes that I really knew, like, once I started working with a mentor and started watching that the difference was really in the way she thought. She thought differently than I did about success, about failure, about money, and about worth and impact. And I thought, well, maybe her brain is different than mine. And as I started doing research, I found out, no, it's not any different than mine. She's just trained it. And so the more I learned, wow, that's the only difference. She took action from an entirely different place, aligned action, and that's what we're talking about. That's what made me go in and get my PhD in neuroscience, neuropsychology, because I wanted to understand the brain science of this. That's why the success switch method was born, and that's what we're going to dive into the video series with. But right now I want to talk about why people buy. So we're going to switch away from that piece of being seen and heard, but more into the selling. I'm curious, I would love to know from you in the chat, why do you think people buy? I love it. You guys are still commenting. Relationships. Why do you buy? They need something to solve problems. I know this seems like a simple question. It's not a trick question. Just why do you buy things? Why do you buy things? Why do you buy things? Why do people buy things? They need it or want it. They believe in it. Yep. To feel better. Yep. To relieve pain, solve a problem, or an impulse. Love it. Love it. Love it. So I want to dive into brain-based selling so you can start to peel back some of the blocks around this. They have a problem. You guys already identified this. They have a problem or a pain. They want an outcome. They like and trust you. Remember the being that you wrote down? This is where that comes in. Now, think about it. The people wouldn't walk into that room unless they wanted an outcome or wanted to relieve a pain. So that does tend to come first. But remember, there's usually a lot of people that can help with the pain or get an outcome. So the next piece that they go to is, who do I align with, that I identify with, that can help me relieve this pain or create an outcome? So understanding that they're looking for you, understanding that the people that are meant to be working with you aren't buying from other people. They're not aligning with other people. They really need you to step up so that they can connect with you. So they have a problem or a pain. They want an outcome. They like and trust you. And they believe your solution is the fastest and easiest way to remove number 1, which is the pain, and get number 2, which is the outcome. And it's as simple as that. They have a problem, so they start looking. They want an outcome, so they start looking. A bunch of people are creating solutions and they go, oh, this person gets me. I'm going to connect with this person because she's been in my shoes. She's like me. She's created this transformation. I'm aligned with that. So they're in a state of belief in their brain about who you are. That right there is 80% of it. And then the only shift for them is they just need to believe in your vehicle, how you're solving the problem. And how they do that is very simple. And we want to dive into that today. So I want to make sure you get a chance to write this down. This is seriously the simple formula for selling. They have a problem. They want an outcome. They first need to like and trust you. That's why you got to show up big and show up as yourself and authentic and all the things that you wrote down. And then they believe your solution is the fastest and easiest way to get rid of number 1, and which is the pain, and to get the outcome that they want. Now, obviously, in that belief, that's a big capitalized word. So we need to help them remove the things that are blocking that belief, and that becomes our job. But the reality is, I want you to really start to look at speaking anytime you show up, whether you're live on a webinar like this, you're live in your Facebook groups, you're writing an email, you're doing anything with your client or customer, that is speaking. And speaking should always be selling. So let me go, let's see if I can go back here. When we talk about selling, what we're saying here is, I am selling the solution to their pain. I am selling the solution to the outcome that they want. I'm helping them get the results they want and remove the pain that they most want gone the fastest and easiest way possible. So speaking is always selling. Selling is always serving. And I think that gets disconnected for us a lot because of the stories that are automated in our minds. If you think about it, I want you to think about the last thing that you bought from somebody that you connected with, right? Did they have to convince you with every single detail, or did you have a piece of it that you just felt that they had your back and they would make sure you got the transformation? And impulse buy works the same way. You still have a need and you have been convinced that that is a quick solution, otherwise it wouldn't impulse. The reality is there's more than one person selling what you're selling. So it isn't about the particular product as much as it is about the fact that they have this issue, they have this desire, they truly want the transformation, they connect with you, and then you help them get to belief around the transformation. It's serving. Because if you think about it, I'm going to flip this the other way. What if they don't invest? What if they don't buy and they don't get their transformation? They continue to do what? Suffer. They continue to do what? Not have the outcome that they want. That's why I'm so passionate about you getting this brain-based success switch method implemented in your life and your business, because I know without a shadow of a doubt, you will transform and your business will massively grow. What is it for you to flip that switch from selling being something that's difficult to it being a place of service, removing somebody's pain and helping them get to the transformation they're after, right? What is that service for you? Because when we start to really show our brain that every time we show up and we actually offer our services, someone is getting a transformation, someone is getting out of pain, someone is getting the result that they want, and that it's selfish to hold that back because someone is suffering, waiting for you to step up into into that role, that they can't hear it from other people. It falls flat for them until you show up, right? Your people are waiting for you to serve them. So Brenda asks, that's why it's hard when people say no. Oh, I love that. I love that you said that. So when people say no, who are they saying no to? You or them? Yeah, they're saying no to them. They're saying no to them. And if this can land for you, it will change the game for you. Speaking, meaning anytime you show up, it's selling. And selling is the most gorgeous word in the world because it's deep, deep level service of transformation. And if somebody says no, it doesn't mean no to you. It means no to themselves. And that can create a compassion for you to keep showing up big, to keep serving. Because I can tell you, people will come to things of mine for 2, 3, and 4 times and then finally invest. And usually what they say is, I really wish I would have done it 3 times ago because I would be so much further along. And this isn't a sales training. We're going to dive deep into that in other areas of my business. But in reality, getting in there and removing those objections for them so that they can say yes to themselves is our job. And as we remove those, it's nothing to do with ourselves. It's all about them saying yes to them. Them saying yes to them. Speaking is selling and selling is serving. So let's dive into a quick exercise. I want you to write down on your paper, and we're going a little long, but I want you to be able to walk away feeling powerfully shifted in your brain. having the brain-based belief, knowing exactly the state of being you're going to be in order to overcome those blocks, those brain-based blocks. And I want you to feel confident in your selling, that selling is serving. So start with their problem or pain. I want you to write down, what is your ideal client suffering with? What is their pain? I want you to write that down, and you can put it in the comments too. And when you're done, say done, and then you can put it in there. What's their pain? They are feeling like they're not enough. Not enough for what? So can make that all the way deep. Anxiety over what? Stress over what? Lack of motivation over what? This is where I am going to help and coach a little bit. Tired for what? Stressed why? Tell me about the business. Go deeper. What's their pain? What do they put their head on their pillow at night and suffer with? I want you to go there. Disease and or not enough nutrition. So what's the pain for them, Carrie? Pain of loss. Okay, there you go. Not having a company that they can trust. And what does that make happen? Costly bills, decreased income. Then I want you to take it to the next level. What does costly bills or decreased income give them pain over? What does it keep them from, right? It keeps them from not being able to do the things they want for their family, and keeps them from not being able to be in the house that they want. You like, go deeper. What are they so upset about? The pain of being unhealthy and in physical pain. So they're in physical pain. What does that keep them from doing? See what I'm saying? Let's go deeper with what the pain is. Think about it. Put yourself in their shoes, and what would the pain keep them from, not make available for them, remove for them, that makes them so hard. They're on the fence about homeschooling. So what's hard for them? Why are they struggling with that decision? Loneliness of elders, right? So yeah, so do you see what I'm saying? Go a level deeper. Go a level deeper. Think about, again, try. I don't want you to live in their pain, but I want you to try on their pain and say, if I was suffering with this, what would this keep me from? What would this make me lose? What would I be missing out on? All of those kind of things, right? So there we go. Now you're starting to kick it. Relationships, go deeper, Louise. Relationships about what? What are they missing out on? Remember, we buy because of pain and desired outcome, but pain more than anything. And in any desired outcome, there's a pain that they're missing out on. So we really want to define this so that we're speaking to them, because that's what you heard. That's why you came, is because I spoke to your pain, because I want to reveal it and I want to help you overcome it, right? Okay. All right. I think you guys are getting it, but go deeper. Disconnection from what, right? Go deeper. They're struggling with, that has to go deeper. Struggle in life keeps them from what? Having a family. What does, because it's different, right? Depending on your stuff. Not enough for what? So go deeper into the problem. Go deeper into that pain. All right. So take 2 minutes here, and I want you to go a little bit deeper into their pain. What is it keeping them from? What is it making them not be able to do? What is it, what dream is dying because they're in that place? And I want you to write it down on a piece of paper and write done when you're done. Okay, it looks like most of you are done. So let's go on to number 2. What's your experience with that? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to write, how are you connected to that pain? Not all, but most of us are transformed people, transforming people. We've created a product or service based on our past with that problem or pain or desire, and we have an experience with it. So what's your experience with that pain? I want you to write that down on the piece of paper. As you guys are writing down your experience with number 1, I want to talk to Robin for a second. Robin, if it was easy for you to figure out what their pain is, what would that be? When I see the words, it's difficult, that's our brain, that's your brain trying to keep you safe. So whoever it is, as a photographer, you take pictures of, I'm assuming that's what you do. So clarify that in the comments, in the chat. But if you're taking pictures of let's just say families, their pain is like, they never get to see them all, together. It represents like what they want is probably driving it more. They want to have that image reflecting their togetherness, reflecting their whole dynamic. Being able to see that on a daily basis brings joy, and they don't have that joy. So they're missing out on joy. So there's the pain. They're missing out on the joy of seeing that physical representation of what they experience in their family. So I want you to tell yourself, this is easy. This is simple. If I did know, what would it be? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so you've gotten written down what's their pain and the problem and what's your experience with that. So each of you should have written on your paper, I've, like Lauren's saying, I've lived their experience, I still live it, there's no done with this work, I'm building resilience, stamina, and find healing along the way. And I would even go deeper, like, you don't have to do that here, but like writing down, like, here's where I was when I was in your pain, and here's what I did, and here's what happened, and here was the struggle and the journey along the way. So, but I want you to write that down. Brenda says she feels disconnected from her dreams, blocked. I love that, Brenda. Awesome. All right, so you should say done if you've got their pain written down and your experience with that pain or struggle. And like we just started to say, what's your solution that worked for you, that inspired you to create that product or service, right? What is your solution? What worked? Everything changed when I started to what? I've shared mine, right? Everything changed when I started looking at the way that my mentor thought, and she was different with how she thought, and that made me think her brain was different. And then I discovered that wasn't the case, and that made me dive headlong into the solution of figuring out the brain science of success. And now that I've created this success switch method that allows entrepreneurs to do 3 things to clarify for their brains so they have brain-based belief, erase those roadblocks that are standing in the way, and automate their brains for success. And that's literally flipping the success switch on. I'm saying that because I repeat it a lot, but that's the kind of thing. What solution do you have that made you create this product? Everything changed when I started to put myself first. See, there you go. Changed when I dealt with the thoughts of painful emotions, showed vulnerability, right? So you guys are writing this down. Basically, I'm walking you through a brain-based selling exercise that now becomes your framework anytime you're showing up for people. Number 4, and this is the last piece of the puzzle, their life without the problem, because they used your product, is what? So I want you to write that their problem is solved, their pain is gone because of your solution. Please write down on your paper, what is their life like now because they have that transformation, because they bought the product and things are changed. What is possible for them now? What's their life like now? Write that down. And when you're done, I want you to write done. Okay, so most of you done? Go ahead and say done if you've got their life without the problem. What's possible for them now? Love it, Rosemary. Okay, a lot of you are done. Good. Okay, so now on your paper, you've got their problem, your experience with their problem, your solution that worked for you, that inspired your product, right? And what their life is like once they buy your product and get that transformation, what becomes possible. These are the key pillars that a brain goes through in order to feel like they know, like, and trust you, that your solution is the solution that they're looking for, and that they're going to get the outcome that they're after. So now that you have this format or this formula, this can inform your emails. This can inform your lives. This can inform your webinars. This can inform everything, because this framework is service. And I want to flip that on for you a second. Flip that on you for a second. Think about a time that you listened to somebody that started and talked about what you were struggling with, identified with it, shared their experience. They've been there too. They understand you're not alone. Then they started talking about what shifted and changed for them, and that inspired them to create this product. And they shared the product with you. And they walked alongside of you as your transformation happened, and their lives up leveled, or their situation improved, and their lives became better. Your life became better, I mean. How served did you feel going through that process? Can you think of something as of late that you've purchased, whether it's a service or coaching or something, a course, whatever, that you had the pain, they started by identifying your pain, they told you about their experience that they had, they showed you the solution, they told you that's why they developed the product, and then they walked alongside you and you got the transformation. Tell me how served you felt. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Let's do it on a percentage. How served would you feel if that's the case? Lighter. Yes, I feel so much lighter, 100%. So we're starting to show your brain, not just how people buy, but how truly an act of service it is that you share in this way and you're able to show up in this way. And it's not sleazy. It is the highest act of human service that you can provide, is to help somebody remove their pain, tell them they're not alone, tell them what worked for you, why you created what you created, and help walk alongside them as their life becomes changed. That is brain-based selling, and that is aligned action, aligned with what is exactly there for you. I'm just trying, it's not good to read and try to talk at the same time. So that's the brain-based selling exercise. It truly is the greatest act of service, removing somebody's pain and giving them their greatest desired result. That, my lovely and amazing entrepreneur, is what you're in the business of doing. You are in the business of giving somebody their greatest desired results and removing their worst pains holding them back. And that, my friends, is the greatest act of service you could ever do. So I am curious, in the chat, probably one of the last times I'll say in the chat, you can tell I want to be very interactive. What is now possible for you now that your brain sees the transformation that happens for people? You have a little bit of brain-based belief. You have the being of the person that you look up to most, and you're going to practice that, and you know that selling is serving. How confident do you feel if this is what you were living out and the lens you were looking through every single day as you showed up in your business? Good. Now we still want to go through and create the ability for your brain to automate this. This is a super important piece of the puzzle, because you don't want to have to do this heavy lifting every day. We want to be able to automate it so that it becomes light, easy, effortless, so that you don't have to think about these things, that it's truly what you believe and it's automated. And that's what we will do inside the video series. But I just wanted to see, like, in this short period of time, how quickly your brain can shift. And we've talked about the success switch method. That's going to be what we dive into in the actual video series. And so I want to talk through the things we've learned. We've gone through how to create brain-based belief to have the same kind of confidence and go to expertness, like the top 3%, so customers want to buy from you. We've also gone through how to begin to remove the roadblocks like imposter syndrome and comparison, so you can become seen, known, and sold out in your niche. And then we've also dived into how to create this expertise and sell with ease through this aligned action with how people really do buy. So I'm curious if this has been valuable for you up to now. I would just really like to hear that in the chat. Just want to make sure that we continue to dive into the areas that really help shift things for you. That is my desire through this entire next couple of weeks, is to help you have a major up level in your entrepreneur mindset. Have you truly trained into your brain the type of thinking, actions, and results like a top 3% entrepreneur, so you can become one so much faster and easier. And the key to all that is within that success switch method that we're going to break down in the video series coming up very soon. So make sure you get signed up for that. And I wish I could cover that more, but coming up is the video series. Nothing else here. Like I said, as I promised, we're not pitching anything. I just really want to start to remove some of the tip of the iceberg in that brain-based shifting, so you can truly start to believe it, so that you will see it. That's what I have for you today. I hope you really enjoyed this training, and I will see you inside the Unleashed Entrepreneur Facebook group. Make sure you dive in there, where we've got, I think, until midnight tonight on an amazing contest where we're giving away a $50 gift certificate to the Amazon, from takeaways to a money mindset PDF that's available for you in there. So I will be in there with you, be in the group, and we'll see you there tomorrow at noon. I'll be jumping in live to announce the winner. So thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And I will see you inside the Unleashed Entrepreneur video series. That's it. Bye for now.